Hello, welcome to the Liban Is Listening podcast with me, Liban, and my friend Johnny. Nice to see you. Good afternoon, good evening. How do you do? Nice to see you, nice to me, to you, to me, to you. The way me and Johnny have been recording this, we've got a bunch of episodes in the bank which we then wanted to release weekly. But then in our latest recording, we were talking about something that's very immediate and topical, which is the situation in Ukraine with the Russian invasion. And we've decided to bring this one forward and release it now, just because who knows what's going to happen in 6 weeks' time or 2 months' time. Like, we might end up just sounding like idiots who completely misconstrued the whole situation, or maybe we'll all be dead because a nuclear apocalypse will have wiped us all out. Who knows? So, with that in mind, let's get straight into it. Here we go.
This is the BBC Home Service.
So you're going to take the lead for this show, right?
Not
You said you're
massively. Not massively. I just
What do
have
you mean not massively?
two things I wanted to talk about. One
Go on.
is that I woke up.
Ukraine.
I woke up yesterday. Yeah.
All right.
So in terms of timing, this is day 3 or day 4 of the invasion of Ukraine, and
Yeah.
when I woke up yesterday, I'd been thinking about it for like several days and thinking, about it in the night. And I woke up and I called my mum and I said to her, I've made a decision. I'm going to fly to Poland. I'm going to take a train from Warsaw to Kyiv. And I'm going to help the Ukrainian people fight against the Russians.
Yeah.
And she started laughing at me. She laughed in my face, and she was like, "That's just not who you are. Why are you even calling me and lying about this?"
But you was joking about it, right?
I was joking, but I wish I was that person as well.
Really?
Yeah, I wish I was the kind of person who'd be mental enough to get on a flight and go out there and fight with them.
Why wouldn't you do that? What's stopping you? You're a single man, Liban. Sometimes I'm amazed at how much freedom you have to literally do anything. Didn't we say this in the last show? I said, if you wanted, you could just book a ticket to Bolivia and fucking go there for a weekend. What's stopping you?
I tell you what's stopping me from going out and fighting the Russians right now. I'm a coward. Yeah. I'm an absolute coward, and I'm lazy. I'm a lazy coward, but I've got the will. I've got the desire to be the person who would go out there and fight the Russians. But I can't do it. I wasn't even willing to wear a mask in the shops last year. So if I can't even sacrifice that, how can I sacrifice myself?
Well, you're twisting everything here. What do you mean? Wasn't even willing to wear a mask in the shop.
I was lazy last year.
That's the brave thing to do, isn't it?
No,
the brave thing to do.
The brave thing to do is to do the right thing and wear the mask in the shop. And I was too lazy to even do that. Some days I'd wear it, some days I wouldn't. I was never consistent. And I didn't do the right thing then, and I'm not going to do the right thing now. All I did was I gave a bit of money to charity. That's what I did. Just to soothe my consciousness a tiny bit. I gave a tiny bit of money to charity for the Red Cross in Ukraine. But that's like I need to be out there fighting. That's what I need to do.
But Liban, see, you want to be the kind of person who fights for what you believe in, right?
I wish in the 1920s when you had British people who went out to Spain to fight the fascists.
Yes.
They went out there with like small little units of volunteers, and then they went out there to fight the fascists because they believed in it. 100 years later, we're here. Russia has invaded Ukraine.
Yeah.
I wish I was the kind of person who could go on Twitter and say, I'm hiring a bus to go from London to, Dover, get on the ferry to Europe and drive to Ukraine, and we're going to fight the Russians. We're going to have a little volunteer unit to fight the Russians. I wish I was the person who could do that.
But hold on, first of all, could you say, with this whole Ukraine thing, there's literally no even possibility you would go to Ukraine. I mean, it's just illogical. If you went there, you would just get shot dead.
But that's what Spain, same thing. If 1920s,
no, there was an actual organized force there.
Was there?
That you could join up, and it's a war that's hanging in the balance.
It wasn't just the mad lads and hooligans from the football teams who decided to go out and.
It might have been, but even then they stood a better chance because they were fighting for, a war that was genuine in the balance. I mean, the war in Ukraine is not even a war; it's an invasion that Russia have probably been planning for months. They surgically struck all the fucking military bases. They're going to take it over probably within a week, which is ludicrously quick.
But
Like
then
Kyiv, I mean.
there's going to be on the
There's no,
ground
there's no,
fighting.
there's no,
There's going to be a
there-
resistance. There's going to be surely they need you know
there's not a resistance.
men of a fighting age.
I don't know. I don't think that's no. If this, I did see something that I thought was genuinely horrific about that, which was the Ukrainian government just handing out guns to civilians, and I thought that is, and maybe it was propaganda. There's so much propaganda with this, but I thought if they're doing that, I thought that's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. To just hand, I mean, and I hope most of those people were just going to get a free gun and then going right back home, because if you think you're going to come up against an army, you're just some random dude off the street. No training, no strategic training, no intel, no fucking organization.
That's the
and you're
point. That's the whole point.
No.
If you're willing to make the streets run red with blood and make them fight for every inch and just kill as many Russians as you can to fight for your country, surely there's something that's fine.
Man, it's not a movie. It's not a movie.
No.
You know in Call of Duty,
yeah,
how you just mow down through people. You just mow them down. Bap, 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 bap.
That's not what I'm talking about.
15 people dead. No, that's them. That's them. That's the soldiers who've been training for this and have intel about this, have everything mapped, and people screaming in their ears where the enemies are. That's them. And you're the cannon fodder. You're the idiot who thought you could just pick up an AK and through sheer passion alone and some Hollywood speech could take down the. I'm sorry, reality doesn't work like that.
Listen,
there's probably
you got 200,000 Russian soldiers. You got 20 million Ukrainian civilian
complete
men.
domination of airspace.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So let's say that they decide to make a stand and.
Right, make a stand. Right, what do you do? All right, let's say the forces are invading London right now.
Yeah.
The Russians have decided to come through London. They've secured Brighton. They've secured the coast, so they're going to come into Brighton. They're going to come into London.
I'm going to look at the map. I'm going to look at the map. I'm going to see the routes into London. Google Maps. I'm going to go on Google Maps.
Right, you're going to go on Google Maps.
I'm going to see the motorways that come from south into London. So that's going to be the M23 into the M25.
Right, okay.
And then I'm going to try and find other people who are willing to fight with me. And
how are you going to find them?
Twitter.
All right, maybe. All right, okay. There's five other people. They're exactly like you. They have passion and fire in their hearts, Liban. Right, you and your crack squad of 5 accountants. They're made up of accountants. And
so what do you do? You just spend up? Do you just lie down? If you're never willing to make a stand, do you just lie down and just let the world just become this horrible place where? You know what I mean?
Now we're talking, right? That's right.
At some point, surely you've got to.
Right. What are we making?
Be willing to sacrifice.
Tell me what we're making a stand for.
Your country, Johnny. Your country.
What country? Britain.
Ukraine.
Am I standing up for Britain?
Well, in the scenario of London, absolutely, you're standing up for.
I'm sorry. Maybe my perspective is bleak, but I think protests are fucking useless.
Yeah.
I think if you actually want to change the world, you have to actually think. And here's the truth. I'm gonna fucking make everyone realize how fucking bleak this is. The reality is that an individual can't do shit. It's what the masses want. And the reality is, Liban, that the masses don't give a fuck about Ukraine. The masses are all sitting at home tweeting about it. And that's why Ukraine...
What about the masses in Ukraine? What about the masses in Ukraine? What do they want?
What do they want? Exactly. Does anyone even fucking know? No, but I tell you, I know exactly what every fucker from the west coast of America to Norfolk knows about this. But no one's actually fucking, I mean, the reality is, I think Ukraine's been being... whatever. But if you're going to make a stand, you have to actually think and plan. And it's not just like a Hollywood movie. I'm sorry, Liban. That's my perspective.
I'm just saying.
And I think that's closer to reality.
Probably. But at some point, I just think, You gotta fight for idealism. You gotta fight for an ideal. You gotta be willing to lay down your life for something.
Well, let me ask you something. I don't want this to be personal. Can I reveal what country you're from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think I've mentioned I'm from Somalia before.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, yeah, I have. I have.
Maybe we should. Let's not mention too much about it. No, cut that out. Don't mention where you're
Okay.
from.
Anyway.
But we both know what it's like to come from countries that have endured conflict. Let's say that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, where are we? We're not even in those countries. Talk about taking a stand. We're not even in the countries.
You know what?
What?
That's one of the things that my mum mentioned to me when I was talking to her today.
Yeah, your mum
Or the other
knows.
day. She was like, why do you want to go fight for the Ukrainians? Why don't you go
Yeah.
to Somalia
Exactly.
and fight for your country there? And I was like, I've never been there. That doesn't mean anything to me.
You've never been to Ukraine?
I haven't.
So what are you so upset about Ukraine
Because
then?
it's close
And
to us. It's not far
your
away.
blood, Liban, your
It's so
flesh and
close.
blood.
It's physically closer to me.
It's only season. Oh, I mean,
So I said to my mum,
do you think that's weird, though? I do think that's weird.
what's
I
that?
find this very strange about you here.
Well, go on.
Why are you so keen to fight for Ukraine? But the country that, the reason your mum isn't even in the country, presumably. I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's because there's no identifiably evil force in Somalia, or a good force. There's a very clear good and evil here to me, in a sort of almost cartoonishly good and cartoonishly evil. Whereas in Somalia, it's super murky in Somalia, where it's all about tribalism, and it's all about this tribe and that tribe, and ancient feuds and blood feuds, that historical stuff. So there's no, and even if I was to go there, like the tribe that I'm from is such a low caste and such a despised tribe.
But now
that that if I went there, nobody would listen to me. I would literally be spat on and just kicked around, and people would just, it would not be a good look.
And what do you think Ukrainians would do if you went there?
They'd be
You
like,
couldn't even speak the language.
They'd be like, thank you for coming and helping us.
No, you see, you got cartoon, and I don't think it's as cartoonishly good or bad as you think. I think it's much more complex. These are two countries like fucking ancient history. I mean, did you know this? And you call me a conspiracy theorist. Biden's son, Pelosi's daughter or son, Biden's brother's child, whatever, they all sat on the board of the biggest gas company in Ukraine. Ukraine's been getting fucked from every world power for the past 100 years.
Okay.
They've just been abused by everyone. And this is literally, to me, it's they're going to switch which world power they get abused by. They're still going to get abused, is the ugly reality of it. Let's say you surge in there, you with your passion and your every last inch speech,
yes.
You and every accountant and social media manager from London.
Absolutely. We go in there as a volunteer force
and
to help the local Ukrainian people fight for their land.
Fight for their land, and you push back the Russian
and also
forces.
to send a message out there to every would-be dictator that there's a line that you can't cross.
Yes, right. And then what do you think is going to happen in Ukraine? Great prosperity? No.
Listen, whatever happens in Ukraine afterwards is for the Ukrainian people to determine.
But it's not the Ukrainian people,
I can't go in there and be like, everything's going to be great. What I can do is I can go in there with my volunteer force and be like,
mate,
I cannot allow it to get any worse than this. It cannot get any worse. This is the line. No?
So, yeah. No, I mean, what? And then you have your big symbolic gesture, and then, I mean, the irony is that that's the problem the Russians are going to have when they take Ukraine away, which is an inevitability. They're going to take it, and then the real problem is holding Ukraine, and then how they're going to fucking rape Ukraine for the next 100 years. But even if you went there,
they don't even want to hold Ukraine, though. They just want to set up a puppet government and let Ukraine fall apart. It's not even about taking Ukraine and holding it.
Ukraine's had puppet governments since it began. It's just a place that people. It's terrible what happens to Ukraine. It's terrible. It's the people live impoverished, and they have a really they grow a bunch of the world's wheat in Ukraine. They have like a lot of, you know, quite talented people there. There's not a lot of people, a small amount of people, loads of, but you know, and they live in poverty. They've lived in poverty for ages because all the money just gets funneled out of the fucking money, out of the country. It's terrible. But that's how the reality of the world is, Liban.
So we should just let the Russians go in there and do what they want.
No, but you know, what are you going to do about it?
Today them, tomorrow us.
Tomorrow us where? Tomorrow
Russians.
us where?
Today them, tomorrow us.
Yeah.
They're going to come for us next.
They're going to come for you. And then you can make a stand when they're coming up the M23.
But that's the point,
you-
is we can
and-
make the stand while it's far away. While it's not going to... While
You know what I
it's fighting
think?
somebody
You know what I
else's
think?
land.
This is interesting. This has nothing to do with geopolitics. And you know, I've long thought that politics has ceased to become any kind of realistic thing about the world. Here's a quote. If I was on Twitter, I would post this. All politics is pathology now. Whenever you hear people talk about politics, they're really talking about their own personal pathologies, right? That they project onto politics. So this is interesting, Liban. If I had the button, if I had my thing, I'd be hitting it, putting you in therapist chair, Liban.
So
this
you're
is nothing
saying
to do. This
this
is nothing to do with
this is about me looking for a cause to sacrifice myself
I think
for.
so. I think this is it. I think this is more about you and your mental state currently. Maybe you feel it. I don't know. I wouldn't presume to say. But what do you think, Liban?
What do I think? I think I've always liked the idea of sacrifice in war.
Sacrifice and war.
I think,
Why?
I don't know. There's something very powerful about it.
Have you ever felt have you ever felt that like you have sacrificed something?
I've never. Maybe that's why. Because I've never sacrificed anything. Because I've had such an easy life, that it hasn't felt like it's had much meaning. So maybe I'll give my life some meaning by sacrificing myself so that some women and children can get to safety.
Women and children, look at you. You're getting the full caricature of a World War II hero. The women and children. What happened to equality? What happened to equality?
Fuck equality. These women
Where are
and
the
these
women?
children,
Yeah, I know.
they need to be saved. And I'm a strong man, and I can do it. I can save them.
Are you saying women can't fight in wars, Liban?
They can if they want to. I'm not going to stop them. If a woman wants to stand next to me as I do my last stand, and I say, you know, fuck you, Putin. Come, let's go. Come, we go, bruv. If she wants to stand next to me and say, come, we go with me, you're welcome to, sister.
But probably you should get yourself to safety lab, because
I mean, I'd like it if she was in safety. That's my sort of old school, you know,
sexism,
sexist point
misogyny,
of view.
your toxic masculinity.
I'm not going to lie, I do have some toxic masculinity in me, which I struggle with. But at the same time, I'm not going to push back. If she wants to make a stand with me, she's welcome. In the meantime, yeah.
Do you think there's a lot of people that feel like you right now?
Probably. A lot of people are probably inspired by what they're seeing the Ukrainians do.
What are the Ukrainians doing?
Fighting back, not just letting the Russians roll all over them.
I don't know. I haven't seen much. I haven't been keeping up to date with it. But from what I saw, the Russians took like the airport near Kyiv, and then they hit all the fucking air.
But the Ukrainians aren't just capitulating. They're not just surrendering. They're fighting back and making them pay for it in blood and men and deaths.
Listen to this. How can you call yourself the force for good when you're glorying in death, Liban?
Because peace is not, you know...
Peace through war, yeah?
Not just peace, not that. I'm saying you can't... There is such a thing as a righteous war. There is such a thing as a righteous battle, surely.
Is there?
If defending your country and defending your territory isn't righteous, then what is?
And what would you say to people who don't? What about the Ukrainians who don't defend their country?
That's their choice. That's their choice. I'm not going to say they're bad or they're cowards. It's not. That's their choice.
All right. Let's ignore Ukraine for a second. Where else do you think there's a righteous war that you could join in the rest of the world? The war against the unvaccinated, is that a righteous war?
No, I think again that's a choice. That's
That's a choice.
that's a choice.
I'm a bit too late on that. I asked you last year. That would probably have been a juicy little thing. Last year, you've been. I think I'm vaccinated. People literally should. I can't wait for them to die.
to get
I hope
rounded
they
up
get
and
COVID.
rounded
Yeah,
up
it
and
would
put
have been
into
that. But
camps.
see, people forget. People and in 6 months, the ban. You know, I mean, this would be hilarious. You listen to this podcast back in 6 months. To your, you know, I think it'd be funny. But where else would there be a righteous war? Do you think? Israel, Palestine?
No, that's too complex. That's too
Oh, it's too
complex for me.
complex.
It's too complex. It's not a clear black and white. There's no clear black and white side for me to join and feel
China,
righteous about it.
Taiwan? China, Taiwan? What if the Chinese invade Taiwan? What are you going to do there?
I mean,
Which side you going to pick for a start?
I'm definitely picking the Taiwanese side.
Definitely pick the Taiwanese, right?
Definitely pick the Taiwanese side.
You're going to be killing evil Chinese, evil Chinamen.
I'm not saying they're evil. I'm saying they're not on the righteous side. The righteous side is the defending side.
Right, so Russia's side is Taiwan.
Yeah, any side that's the aggressor is not the righteous side.
Oh, the aggressor is always the
Not
bad.
always, not always, not
Oh,
always.
God,
But in
God.
these situations, if
Name
you're
is-
talking specifically China and Taiwan and Russia and Ukraine, in both instances, the aggressor is unrighteous.
All right, what about Libya? Would you have gone to defend Gaddafi then?
Ah, this is it. Now we're getting into it. Is it a righteous thing to defend a dictator? No.
But he wasn't the aggressor.
He wasn't the aggressor, but he was also a dictator. So I can't in good conscience defend his regime.
What's the difference between a dictator and just being a prime minister?
Well, a prime minister is, correct me if I'm wrong, but a prime minister is democratically elected.
I'm sure Gaddafi has some paper that says 7 trillion people voted for him somewhere.
Well, that's between Gaddafi and his people.
What about? Let me think. Where else? Where else can Liban, the special Liban operatives, go and work their magic in the world? Let me think. Where? I had one.
So you're telling me you'd never fight?
No complex conflicts.
You would
We've
never
established
fight.
that.
You'd never fight,
Always
Johnny.
Would you have fought for Iraq?
No, but I did protest. I did protest against the Iraq invasion. Do you remember when there was that 1 million person march in London?
Yeah. I remember.
I was there. I was there
they
on
were
the
all
ground.
useless.
I was
They were
on
all
the
useless.
ground.
They were all useless. The Occupy protests were all useless.
Yeah.
Protests are always useless. I'm sorry. But you know what? Give up your little dreams of becoming a hero, Liban. Accept what the world is.
So you'd never fight for anything?
I would fight, yeah.
What would you fight for, Johnny? What would make you stand up and say, this is it? I tell you what you'd fight for. When they finally make smoking illegal, that's when you'd be
Yes.
like, no, my people will not be restrained. We will smoke on the streets. We will smoke on the beaches. We will smoke in the air. That's what
Well,
you'd fight for.
I didn't fight for it, didn't I? Because, I was outnumbered. They took our smokers out like the Russians are taking out Ukraine's. They just, across the night, they just announced these sweeping legislations and they just kicked us out. And you know why? Because people like you supported it. And I cannot do anything about the masses. It's a numbers game I could never win. What am I going to do? Walk to a McDonald's with a fag? No.
What are you going to
do
fight
this.
for then? Tell me what you'll fight for, Johnny.
What would I fight for?
What would make you pick up a gun or an AK-47 and join the volunteer troops?
What would make?
Because we're too old to be professional soldiers. Let's be realistic. At the ages that we're at in our late 30s, we're not going to be joining the army and joining the boot camp and then going off. We're going to be like basically the home guard or the volunteer troops who just pick up a gun and then try to soak up some gunfire so that the real soldiers can, flank the enemy and do what they should do.
No, I would. You got to try and use your brain a little bit. If you become a I always thought the jihadis were a bit, stupid, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
They kept doing this war on terror where they would just kill innocents in the middle of the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which only justifies, like, all it did was justify give people an excuse to send like all these big military forces over to, well, even though they failed there. I mean, they ran rings around the Americans for 20 years in Afghanistan, and then the Americans just left, and they took the country back. It was ludicrous. I always thought if I was a jihadi, you need to be going for the critical infrastructure. And everybody knows that the West has many weak points across infrastructure. I mean, when you think about like the power plants, take out a single power plant, you could black out half of America probably. Why aren't you going for that? Down the internet. The internet is one of the key tools of control and power that the West has. Surely you could down the internet. Or if you want to kill innocents, right? Why are you getting a truck and driving it into a supermarket? Maybe you get a dozen people. Poison a major metropolitan city's water supply. Bang, you're getting millions. Now that's real terror. Do you know what I'm saying, Liban?
100%. No, I agree with you. Like, if I was to be a terrorist, I would absolutely, yeah. But I think they're not. They're emotional terrorists. They're ideologues. I think they're not thinking about being effective. They're thinking of spreading fear and terror so that they get attacked, and then that they can recruit even more people so that their people will end up hating the and become more extreme and join them in a bigger fight.
Maybe you're right, but then
I don't think they're trying to be effective.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. That's the only explanation I could think of it. They did plan apparently 9/11.
The thing is, absolutely, we've seen them do like in-depth, long-term schemes to cause damage. There's no way they haven't thought of everything that you're describing, but they're ideologues. There's something else that they're trying to accomplish.
I disagree. I just don't think they were using their brains very much. I think they weren't using their brains very much. But because they're
this is all beside the point. What are you going to fight for?
What cause would I fight for? Let me think. What would I fight for? I don't know. I've given up on society. I've accepted that I'm going to die, and I don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. Maybe that's very bleak, but I think we're too far gone. What are you going to fight for? Listen, the world is falling apart as it is. There's no point fighting for anything now. Let it properly fall apart. The question you should ask me, Liban, is really, what am I going to build?
What are you going to build?
I don't know. I was born at a terrible time in human history where everything is unraveling. And I'll be dead long before people start building. So what do I get to do? I just get to enjoy everyone just fucking riding this minecart into hell. So there you go. That's what I think.
I'm going to tell you a story which is quite relevant.
Go on.
Is part of my discussion with my mum the other day. I was talking to her and I said, so you already were a refugee once in your life. When civil war broke out in Somalia, you had to get out of Somalia, travel across the Middle East, travel into Europe, and then find a new home in Europe. Are you ready to do that again when Ukraine falls and the Russians don't stop and they take Finland and Sweden next, and then after they've taken Finland and Sweden, they start they land some troops in Norfolk and then start coming down from the north into London. Are you ready to become a refugee again? Where are we going to go? Are we going to go to New Zealand? Are we going to go to Argentina? What's the place we can go that's the furthest away?
Wait a minute. Where's your fighting spirit gone, Liban?
Well,
you want to be.
Listen, I'm willing to fight, but I've got a mother to think about. Right, I need to get her to safety. I have to get her to safety. First of all, I'm going to have to travel with her.
No way.
To get her, I need to get her to safety. I need to,
Oh my God! This is it.
She doesn't speak good English, so I have to be at the airport. I have to be at the borders, crossings. I have to help her get to safety, and that's why I couldn't, in good consciousness, fight until.
I love this. You're going to exist in the Schrodinger's refugee exist, where you're both a freedom fighter who stands his ground, but also someone who flees at the first sign of trouble. Schrodinger's warrior.
Listen, I need you to understand. I'm responsible for my mother. She's old, she's frail. She had cancer a few years ago. She's probably not got that much left to live. I have to make sure that she gets to safety before I can come back and stand the line.
Are you genuinely being honest, serious about that?
What?
You genuinely being serious? You would ensure your mum gets to safety?
I have to figure out something. I can't
That's the whole point of fighting your ground. You're fighting your ground for your mum.
She has to get to safety. This is a ground that we're gonna probably lose. Let's be realistic. We're probably gonna lose. I'm gonna die. It's gonna be a symbolic gesture that's gonna inspire other people to rise. So, in the meantime, first I have to get my mom to safety, and then I come back and I do the job that needs to be done. Hashtag let's get it done. Brexit.
Well, I don't know, Liban. I don't know, Liban.
Anyway,
I don't think you'll
this is-
convince anyone with that.
This is all
But
beside.
go
I
on.
couldn't convince her either. We're on the same page because what she said was she's just as cynical as you are. She said, "Let's just die." She said, "I've done it once.
Yeah.
I don't want to, become a refugee again. If the Russians come, let's just go to the local mosque, pray a
You really
bit,
was-
and then when they start bombing London, at least we can die inside the mosque, and that means we automatically get into heaven." So my mum's ready to die. She's like, "It's over. Don't worry about it."
Shall I say something? I think the reason I don't give a fuck about fighting for anything is that I have nothing to fight for. What am I going to fight for? I grew up in a fucking city I could not afford to fucking live in. Could barely afford to exist in. Spent my whole life struggling just to fucking survive. What exactly am I preserving? The wonderful world that fucking,
Yeah.
the wonderful world that gives me many opportunities. A world that doesn't even listen to this fucking podcast. Is that what I'm preserving? Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
So I'll wrap it up by telling this story, a story that exemplifies my mum's fatalistic attitude, and I think this runs in our entire lineage. I don't know why
Yeah.
it skipped me, but we've got maybe part of it is in me, but in my ancestry, there's a lot of people who are fatalistic and just ready to die at all times. My great aunt, so this would be my mother's aunt, so my grandmother's sister, back in Somalia, she was a shepherd with a camel and a bunch of goats.
Yeah.
So one day, she was out herding the goats. A storm came, and she left them in a certain place, and she went to try and get some shelter. So she found this little cave in the side of a mountain or a hill, something. I don't know the geography of Somalia. She goes inside, and she sees a pride of lions inside the cave. And
Fuck.
this is a 100% true story. She sees a pride of lions inside a cave, also taking shelter from the storm. And the second she comes in, like 4 or 5 lions stand up suddenly and just start staring at her. And
Yeah.
they look like they're ready to pounce.
Yeah.
And my great aunt just starts talking to the lions. She's like, "Here's what we're going to do. You're going to eat me first, then you're going to eat me, and then you're going to eat me. But remember, you have to leave a little bit of me for the ones in the back to eat as well." She literally just gives up on the spot immediately and just starts almost, I don't know if it's like she's cracking jokes or if she just like trying to talk to them, but literally immediately gives up on life and then starts discussing in what order the lions should eat her.
Oh my god, yeah. Then go on.
And then they don't. They just back away, and then she backs away, and then she doesn't show her back to them. She just backs away while facing them, and then they didn't hunt her down and kill her. And then she came back. She came back to the village at the end of the day with her goats and her camel, and she told the story of how she survived.
Ah, that's interesting. What do you think about that story?
I love it. I love it. So basically, the Russians and the Chinese are the lions, is my mum's point of view, is the Russians and the Chinese are the lions of the world today. So when they come for us, the only way we're going to survive or have a chance of surviving is if we're willing to die. So she's like, "Don't worry about it. Whatever happens, happens. Worst case scenario, we'll just go to the mosque, pray to Allah. When they bomb us, we'll die and we'll go straight to heaven. It's all good."
But you don't believe in an afterlife.
I don't. That's why I'm such a coward. That's why I want to wring out
That's
every
interesting. Maybe it's
of
true,
life that I
actually.
can get. I need to maintain it.
That's interesting. Maybe it is the death of religion that has made people a bit less willing to fight for stuff because they have no sense there's something that's greater than themselves, you
No,
know?
no, because a lot of people now think this is it.
I don't think
Anyway,
I'd be a kid. I don't think I'd be a cat. I think I would fight. I just don't feel like there's anything worth fighting for. I have no fear of death. I'm
whereas
well aware that.
I'm a very emotional person. I really want to. That's why I'm so easily swayed. That's why this whole Ukraine thing has got me so like swept up in, you know, patriotic fervor for a country I'm not even from.
But yeah, mate, there's always conflicts in the world. What about Yemen? You're not worried about Yemen?
What's happening in Yemen? I've not heard about Yemen.
Oh my God, you don't know what's happening. The Saudi Arabians are fucking starving children there. They're just
Oh,
punishing. It's dreadful what's happening over there.
oh.
They don't talk about it on the news,
They
though.
don't talk about it. I didn't hear about it. If I'd heard about it, I'd be just as emotional, I'm sure.
Yeah, and there's loads of shit always happening
I
across
think
the
I
world.
have to explain to our listeners.
Yeah,
I'm ruled by my emotions. I'm a very emotional person. My mood goes up, my mood goes down. I have no control over it. I've got no discipline of thought, no discipline of emotions. I'm ruled 100% by how I feel. So the last few days, when there's this grim atmosphere of, war in Europe for the first time in decades, since, the 90s when we had the stuff going on in the Balkans, which I was too young to really appreciate or get, all sort of stirred up by. This is, war in Europe, war near close to my heart, close to my home. I think there's a lot going on, man.
but what about war in Africa? Doesn't that move you?
It's too far. It's too far.
Is that
Proximity.
really what it goes? Do you
I
think
think
there's a it's built on? Come on, it's not far,
it's
really.
proximity. Proximity. It's coming close to my home.
Do you think being ruled by your emotions makes you more easily manipulated?
Very, very. Oh my god, the way I get manipulated is outrageous.
Are you being serious?
No, I get manipulated very easily, but I'm also
By
stubborn.
who? Give me an example.
By the people in my life who know exactly how to emotionally blackmail me. They know exactly what buttons to press to get me to
Oh
do
my
what they
God.
want. By the people who I work with,
Really? Give me an
by
example of people working with you manipulating you
well,
emotionally. Because I
basically,
don't know if you're being serious now. I can't tell if
basically
you're
the
being
people that I
serious.
work with, they know that for the most part I'm a lazy guy. I'm going to show up and be hardworking for about 2 months of the year, and the rest of it I'm just going to slide by and sort of, just exist and be available. But I'm only going
Yeah.
to show up and be serious for 2 months of the year. So when they really need me, they know what buttons to press, and they know how to push me and be like, all right, this is it, this is the crunch time, this is when we need you to step up. They know I'm also ego driven, so they know that I like to come in as the savior and be the white knight and the one who rescues.
Yeah.
So they know how to phrase it and be like, all right, Liban, we really need you to save this project, we need you to come in and do this right, because nobody else can quite do it like you can. They know how to. That's the positive sort of emotional blackmail, where they puff me up and suddenly I feel like, oh yeah, I am fucking amazing, I need to get
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there, and
yeah.
I need to get this done, and I need to show everyone that I'm the best.
Is that something you'd rather work on? Is that something you'd rather get rid of in yourself? The over
I'm okay.
emotional
I'm
ease.
okay with it. I've lived as an over emotional person for 36 years, so it's fine. I'm used to it.
Yeah, okay.
But I also enjoy it. I enjoy the ups and I enjoy the. I wouldn't want to live in the middle. I enjoy being very emotional, very happy, very sad. I think I've told you this once or twice before,
Go
and
on.
I think it kind of horrified you, and it
Oh, go
made you
on, we go
question
on.
my sanity when I told you that sometimes I have dreams that are so intense that when I wake up, sometimes wake up just laughing to myself, just giggling for no reason. And also vice versa. Sometimes I have intense dreams that are so sad and so
Yeah.
depressing that I wake up almost crying. I sound like
Oh,
a
I don't
crazy
know.
person.
Waking
I
up almost kind of
genuinely,
yeah.
I genuinely
That's,
sound like a crazy person. I know, but it's not. It's not often. It's about once a year or once every sort of 9, 10 months. I'll just have a night of dreams and emotions and feelings that are so intense that I wake up and I'm affected by it, and I wake up laughing or I wake up crying or I wake up feeling something really intensely.
well, do you cry easily?
Not really, no.
Because that's the thing that would amaze me about you waking up crying. It's like someone who doesn't cry, but a dream would make them, something in a dream would make them cry, you know?
I don't cry in real life that much. In real life circumstances, I've cried once in the last sort of 5, 6 years, maybe twice. And then in movies, though, in movies and TV shows, I do let myself get immersed and let myself get swept away
Yeah,
and sort of tear up and well up a bit. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff, I don't really guard myself. I let myself be swept away. But I think in my day to day life, I only
yeah,
rarely cry.
yeah. So what do you remember what those dreams are about?
Not now. I usually remember them at the time, but not. I can't. I didn't make a note of them, so I don't know what they were now.
Have you ever written a journal?
No.
What would you write if you wrote a journal?
What would I write?
Yeah, what would you focus on?
Dear diary, today a pretty boy winked at me. I really liked it. It felt really nice.
Would you write the events of the day? Would you write your mental state of the day? Would you just write whatever you're thinking about that day? What would you write
I
about,
think it
do you
would be
think?
very navel gazy. It would be very
Yeah.
internally focused. I wouldn't be writing about external things. I'd probably be writing about my emotions. I'd be writing about how I've been feeling, what I've been thinking.
Would you have written about, I wish I could go to Ukraine and be a warrior?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'd write. If I was to do a journal over the last few days, I'd be writing
Yeah.
and thinking, yeah, these Ukrainians, they've inspired me. They've made me really. A friend of mine called Spencer had something he said to me the other day. He's like, watching this stuff makes me think that there must be a German word that's hyper specific that describes the feeling of being inspired and sad and just thinking that they're really badass at the same time. Because Germans have those hyper specific words. So
Yeah, yeah,
there's got to
yeah.
be a hyper specific word to summarize how I'm feeling.
It's called Spielberg.
Oh,
It's a Spielberg, watching a Spielberg movie.
oh. You completely
I'm
deflate me,
sorry, I'm
man. You
sorry.
just completely
I'm
deflate
sorry,
me.
I'm a drag. I'm sorry, what can I say? I'm a fatalist.
Am I a fucking idiot,
Fatalist.
Johnny? Am I a fucking idiot?
No. What, for being emotional? You
Yeah.
never call anyone an idiot for
Am I
being
an
emotional.
idiot for getting swept up and just buying
All
into?
emotion, no, I mean, all emotions are idiotic. Falling in love is idiotic. Being inspired is idiotic. I mean, this is going to have to do with idiocy.
Have
It's
I
the
been
emotions in
manipulated?
it. It's no
Have I,
ideas, just
have I been
feelings.
manipulated by the media? Is that what you're saying? I'm just swept up in what's happening at the moment.
Well, yeah, I would say that. Is that mean of me to say? I would say that though. But I don't think that's part of the course. That's how it is these days. Everyone gets swept up in everything. Like you didn't even know what's happening in Yemen,
I don't know what's
right?
happening in Yemen.
Because
What's
no one reports it. They decide what they're going to do and they decide how they're going to report it, and it becomes like But I don't think you're an idiot if you get swept up in that. That is the world we live in.
hmm.
What are you going to do? I live in a bubble. That's the only difference. I live in a bubble. I completely ignore everything. Talk about anything. I don't expect everyone to be like me, you
Hmm.
know, because what I do is just as ridiculous. Completely just tune out and
So,
fucking.
mainstream Liban has been affected by the mainstream media,
You
and
don't think so? Well, maybe I'm an idiot. You think I'm an idiot for living in a bubble and not giving a fuck about anything that goes on in the world?
no, I
Do you
wouldn't
think
say
that's
you're.
callous? Do you think I'm mean? Do you think I'm cold and hard?
I think it's defense mechanism, isn't it? I think you're probably more sensitive than even me. So you probably, if you were tuned into life the way that most
Yeah,
people are,
maybe.
it would probably wreck you.
Because I tell you one thing, I just see the bleakness in everything. I see the bleakness in, you know,
Hmm.
like the Ukraine situation. I don't see anything good in it. I don't see any inspiring. resist. I just see a bunch of cunts who are going to throw themselves to a certain death.
Mm-hmm.
And I see, once again, politicians are probably going to make out, and they're probably benefiting from your little volunteer armies becoming cannon fodder. And I
Yeah,
think
I can
Ukraine
see
is not
that.
going to end up any better, whether it bravely defends its sovereignty or whether it gets taken over by Russia. The same shit's going to happen to the average person. So I just see the debate. So maybe it is a defense mechanism to just say, well,
Definitely.
fuck it, to
Absolutely.
never be disappointed, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that with you. Because with me, I do see sort of the light in the darkness, whereas you just only see the darkness. So I think that's why it makes sense for you to disconnect completely.
Yeah. I think actually, if I would fight for something, if I felt like there was something good potentially to happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like if, defending a country meant that country was actually going to be prosperous and everyone in it was going to live happy lives afterwards. I think, yeah, but you know,
But you don't see
I
the
don't see
possibility of
that.
that
I don't
ever.
see that, man.
No,
No,
that's fair enough.
you know, I think, yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry for depressing you, but I'm also sorry for depressing all of our listeners, our many listeners.
Ah, fuck the listeners, man. Fuck these people. They don't exist. Fucking idiots. No, fuck
Women
them.
don't exist.
Fuck them. Fuck you. Fuck me. Fuck Russia. Fuck Ukraine. Just fuck everyone, man.
I'm sorry. I'm
Uh,
sorry. Oh my god, I feel like a drug dealer now. I feel like I'm giving you a first hit of something you can't handle.
I can't handle this. I
All right, you had another topic.
I
Go
need
on
to
to
see
another
the
topic.
light. I need to see the light
I
in the
know, I
darkness,
know,
Johnny. I need
I
to
know.
believe. I need to believe
I'm too
that
emo,
the
as
last.
Amos
I need to
says.
believe that when that guy says to the Russian warship, "Go fuck yourself," and then the Russians bomb him out of existence. I need to believe that means something. That it's gonna have a symbolic meaning. That it's gonna push other people to take action. That something is gonna come from that, and that it's not just a meaningless death.
Well, I'll tell you something. I don't know if this is true. I don't believe anything I think, but I did see someone say it that that wasn't actually what happened. And there's actually footage of the people on Snake Island being led off the island. They were just captured, apparently.
Really.
Yeah, there's footage, but I don't know. I don't know what fuck Snake Island looks like.
Who
But I
knows
saw
if it's
something
true
about
or
it.
not? Who knows
Who
if
knows if
anything is
anything?
true?
Everything is phone in that
Fucking
sense.
just there's a lot of propaganda out and about.
Well, of
I've been
course.
affected by the propaganda. That's what it is.
How
I've
can you
been
not be?
I've been
How can you
affected
not
by
be?
it. I literally spent all of yesterday just refreshing different articles on different websites, following everything. It's fucking grim, man.
Well, that's I think the one way you will end up getting fucking depressed if you immerse yourself in something like that.
I've been very immersed over the last few days.
But you see, this is more about you than anything happening in the world, about.
Go on.
And I do think probably it's exciting in a way, not in a good way, not in a good exciting way, but I think something about it excites something in people. War, an actual war between two European countries, well, technically European. It's very different to what we've had before, which is, Americans flying over the fucking desert, bombing a bunch of,
Mm-hmm.
stone buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something here that is excited something in people, which is the prospect that, shit can kick off still.
Yeah.
Even when you think everything
It's not far away. I was looking at the map and looking at how far away it is. It's not far away, man.
Who is it with you in proximity, man? It's funny.
I don't know.
What if it happened in Germany?
Fucking hell, the world is over. If war happens in Germany, it's over. It's
Well,
World
you're
War
gonna
Three, man.
not if you go over there and fight.
I've got to at that point. They're practically our neighbours.
What if the French and the Germans fight each other? Which side are you gonna go?
No, I'm not joining that. Let
What if
them fight.
Americans try to invade Britain?
Oh, fuck the Americans. They gotta. Yeah, no, I'll fight
You
the
defend
Americans.
British values.
I'll fight for Britain.
Rule Britannia.
I'll fight for the Queen and Prince Philip and
Are you
Prince
serious?
Charles and
Are you
Prince
serious?
William, Prince Harry, Princess
But
Anne,
didn't
Margaret.
they defect? Haven't they defected? One of them did, didn't he? He's gone off to
they?
America. One of them, the ginger one, I think.
Oh, Prince Harry.
Yeah, he's in America now. He's going
Is he?
full blown
Has he been
American.
kicked out completely of the royal family? I thought he was
I
still in
don't know
there.
anything, but I know he married an American woman, and now
Mhm.
he's going full blast launching like a media thing in America. Traitor! How dare he? How could he?
He should be executed by London Bridge, just right next to
Yeah.
it. Anyway,
What was your next subject? Something more upbeat.
it's not going to be more upbeat.
Is it? Is
It's
it more
not.
downbeat?
It's more.
Or are you on a
It's
similar
just as
level of
downbeat, similar level.
just as downbeat? Oh my Jesus!
I want to talk about aging.
Aging. All right.
Getting older. It might not be downbeat. It might be a positive conversation. I've been
Yeah, go
thinking
on.
about aging recently.
Bloody hell!
Have you
man.
been? Do you think about getting older, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I don't really think about it.
I think I've been thinking about it because I can feel myself losing a step. I can feel myself sort of slowing down and taking longer to recover from things that used to take me, you know, like
Really?
I'll go on a night out and I used to be able to, not even get a hangover, get on with it the next day, feel amazing, do like a 12-hour shift and then go out again. I can't do that anymore. When I go out now and have a good time, it takes me like a day and a half or 2 days not to feel the effects of it.
How much of that? See, I hear people saying that, and I always think, well, okay. Some of that obviously to do with aging. A lot of that is just your fitness, though, isn't it?
But
That a
that's
lot of that has to do with just how fit you are at that current time. Like I've been, in my mid-20s and completely schlubby and like tired all the fucking time, and then I would hit an older age, and because I was working out, be feeling great and have much more energy. Like to me, it's much more a marker of fitness. Obviously, it has to do with age as well. But
yeah, I don't think my fitness level changes that much. I think my fitness level is pretty consistently shit. So on my
well,
part,
you're not dancing lately, are you?
no, not in the last 2 years
Oh,
since
there you
COVID
go.
started. But then again,
Right.
I haven't been going out in the last 2 years.
Oh, okay. But you went out recently. Isn't it recent thing that made
No,
you
no, no,
start
no.
thinking about?
This has been happening for years,
Ah,
and yeah, it's made me start thinking about fitness. Is one of the things of it is that I've had to start sort of exercising and getting fit, not even to get stronger or anything, but just to maintain what I have.
yeah. And that's making you think about aging and growing older
Yeah,
and
yeah.
death.
Well, death has always been on my mind. Death has been on my mind since I was 14 years old. That's nothing new.
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is getting dark. Okay, why are you thinking about death? Are you afraid of death?
Terrified. We've had this. We must have had this
Have we had
conversation
this
before.
conversation? I don't think we have.
Okay,
I don't
let's
think
talk
we have.
about it. Let's talk about it. The last time I prayed sincerely
Yeah.
was when I was 14.
And you prayed to live forever.
And you taking a big fat slurp when I'm just making this very sincere
You
statement.
can you hear it?
Of course I can hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Literally,
drinking tea.
and like the last time I prayed was when I was 14.
I'm sorry. I'll try. It's a bit hot. Okay, I won't drink it until it's cold.
No, have your sip.
No. Sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's funny. That's funny. I'm gonna leave that in. That's pretty good.
No. I'm seriously listening. You can see that.
Yeah, no.
Go on.
The last time I prayed sincerely was when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I think that's the last time I believed. And then I sort of slowly lost my faith. And then I sort of came to the view that there is no afterlife. This is it. This is all we've got. What I am and who I am will come to an ending and a completion when I die. And, that terrified me. That scared the shit out of me. That depressed me for years. And then I sort of got used to it. I was like, well, there's nothing much I can do about it. I might as well just try to enjoy life and wring everything out of it that I can. So death is something I've feared and thought about since I was a kid.
Well, what about children now?
What about them?
Well, I think, like you say, you abandoned religion,
Indeed.
and then you said, I'm just going to wring everything I can out of life, and then expire.
Yes.
But what about the idea that there's something bigger than you? See, here's the thing. It actually ties into the war thing that I was thinking about. When you think about like the World War One, World War Two, and you think about the young guys
Hmm.
going off and fighting for, I don't think they had their head full of like what to believe in and I'm taking a stand and the big bad is stuff. Obviously, there's an element of that propaganda, but I think actually what they were fighting for is they had a sense that there was something bigger than them, and they don't fight for them. They don't fight so that they can come back and retire in a happy state. They fight because for their children, you know, just like the way people lived hard lives in the past for their children. They have a sense that something is greater
Hmm.
than them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel
No
that.
one has that anymore, I don't think, because I think religion was intertwined with that. I think children, obviously, people don't have that many children anymore.
But also, community was intertwined with that. Community,
Community,
in a
yeah,
sense of being part of your local, people and the people around you. Whereas these days we're isolated.
yes,
There is no community. There is no village raising a child. It's all like very self-contained units of people who have no connection to anything
yes,
else.
yes. Did you listen to my culture club?
No.
Oh.
Why?
Well, I was talking about this movie, La Ventura, I watched, and there's a really powerful scene in it. This guy, I won't describe the whole thing, but basically, to me, what it meant. Subscribe to Patreon if you want to hear the culture club. What to me,
Patreon.com/Liban is listening.
yeah. But the to me, what that scene meant is the loss of a sense of something, because he's talking about Roman buildings that took hundreds of years to build, but then stood for thousands of years. And then he's an architecture guy and he works and he just does. And he says, we don't build that. We build stuff now that lasts 10, 20 years. And it also kind of intertwines with his personal life where he's just frivolously jumping into relationships. And he loves the idea of a romance, but he can't actually handle once he's in a relationship. He's always looking elsewhere. It's
Hmm.
very interesting, very subtle, very beautiful in that way. But I was thinking, I don't know, something about that resonated with me because I think that's what I see a lot of now. You know, very short term. Let's just live our lives and then let's expire, and
Hmm.
that's it. And I think that's not how it used to be. I think people thought very differently.
Yeah, people thought about the future, and the generations to come
Their
after them.
children, yes, and I think actually, I would say,
I mean, there's that popular phrase that goes around that's all about planting trees that you'll never be able to enjoy.
exactly,
It's all about
yes.
planting trees for your children and your grandchildren to enjoy, but nobody's planting trees anymore.
Yes, and I think that's why you see people saying it's like cliche when they have kids. It's like everything changes. I think they just can't find the words to explain. Like, yeah, you realised it. You're on your way out, mate. You've just been living your hedonistic lifestyle. Now you've got a kid. You understand what time
Now you've
is.
got some stakes.
You understand how big time is. You understand how what fucking 10,000 years of human history is about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the first people to do that, to just kind of stop thinking about the future, stop thinking about anything bigger than the span of their own lives, was the boomers. They were the first people to say, fuck it, man, take drugs, shag around. I'm not condemning them for it. I think it was a natural thing, the prosperity they lived with. But, anyway, I'm going too far deep into this. But that's my general view on it. And I think your fear of death will disappear when you have kids like that.
You reckon?
Mm-hmm.
Won't
Yeah,
it
you need to
just
find yourself a nice
won't it just
Somalian
become
girl.
more intense? Won't it become more intense? Because I don't want to,
No,
I want to be around for my children as long as I can.
no, I don't think so.
If anything, I'll probably go down the other way and fear death even more because I want to.
No, no, no. Well, first of all, you won't be as concerned with yourself. You'll be constantly thinking about them. How am I gonna, you
My selfishness is pretty ingrained, man.
why are you afraid of death? I always find it mind-boggling. People are afraid of death. It's not just going to sleep. You're afraid to go to sleep at night.
It's not about the moment of death. The moment of death is fine. The after death is fine. It's about the loss of me. I want to still exist
Why?
because I enjoyed existing. I enjoy thinking. I enjoy feeling. I enjoy being who I am. I love living. I don't want this to end.
You love life.
I love life. I don't want this to end. If I
It
could live
has to
forever,
though.
if I could live
Yeah,
forever, I would.
yeah.
Would you not be, if you had the choice to be immortal, would you not choose it? Would you be one of those people who's like, oh no, for life to have meaning, you have to die. It has to have an ending. The ending gives it the meaning.
Yeah, I do actually think there's more sense in that. Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I mean,
That's
say
absolute nonsense.
you'd actually want to live forever.
Absolutely. I'd take that choice of immortality. And if in 300 years, 400 years, 1,000 years from now, I lose
Yeah.
interest in life and I feel like I've done everything there is to do and that I'm not gaining anything new, I want to, then I can choose to kill myself. But until then,
What if you have to live forever
give me
though?
as much as I can.
What if you have to live forever? Just like in all the vampire movies, if you want to be immortal, you will end up being immortal. I did watch an interview with a vampire recently as well.
Well, vampires
And I
don't kill
watched,
themselves. They just walk into the sun. What?
yeah, maybe. Okay, but what if you had to live? I don't know. That's a silly question. But you know, I don't know. I don't think living forever would in any way be um I don't know. I don't think it would be any way good. I do think that the ending of
Whether it's
life
good or
is okay.
bad, I want the choice. Whereas death is something that's forced on me and is going to cut me short. It's going to cut me short.
You're really spinning me around here because you're telling me first of all you want to die for something you believe.
Absolutely.
Then you're telling me your first concern is
Getting my
getting
mum to safety.
your mum
I have to get her safe.
in commas
Yeah, yeah.
to safety.
She needs to get out. I have
Now
to make
you're
sure
telling
she's
me
okay.
now you're telling me you want to live forever.
I also want to live forever.
I mean, that does jive with the getting your mum to safety part, but
Hmm.
not the standing up for
So,
something you believe in.
so I'm 2 parts cowardly, 1 part brave.
Why I don't know. It depends what you actually do. Yeah, I don't think you can do it in parts. You're either one or the other. I think it's that kind of deal.
Shit.
I don't know. I don't know.
So you're ready to you're fine with just dying. You're fine with. I don't think death
Yeah.
is a. I don't think death. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. Whereas I'm okay with aging. Aging, I'm fine with. I'm fine with aging and getting grey hairs and sort of my joints creaking. My knees are fucked. Are your knees not fucked, Johnny? Are your
No,
knees just as good as they've always been?
no. I'm sure they will be on their way out eventually, though. But no. What do I have? What do I have? I mean, my health goes up and down completely so randomly. Anyway, yeah, I'm probably. I don't know.
I think I've
I don't
danced
know.
a lot. I think I've danced a lot more than you
Yes,
have, so
probably
I've
something
probably
like
got a
that.
lot more wear and tear on my knees than you do.
Well, my back sometimes. Like last year, I had a massive problem with my back for months. Remember,
Hmm.
couldn't even bloody. Well, I do believe now that that was inflammations. But what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Fuck. The thing about growing old, like that probably would scare me more than death. Like growing old in a way that you can't do a lot of stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with
really
that.
being weaker,
Absolutely fine.
your brain not working as well.
I will adapt. I will live and I will adapt and I will hold on. One of the things I always say to people is that when I have kids and grandkids, I want to bankrupt them. I want to, I, I, I want them to spend as much as they have to do to keep me alive for as long as possible. I want them to
Really?
be penniless and homeless and living on the streets
Oh
if
my
it
God.
means that I get 1 more year or 2 more years.
What if you're just a head in a jar for like you get 10 more years, but you're just gonna be a head in a jar?
Fine, I'll be a head in a
You'll
jar.
take it.
I'll be a
Fucking
head in a
hell.
jar if it
No, no, no.
put some books in front of me, put a computer in front of me, let me hang out with some other heads in jars so that we can talk about, when we were young and when we used to be able to go out and dance.
Bloody hell. I always
Take
joke with my
take
I
my
always
head
joke
in a
with
jar with you to a gig. Buy 2 seats, get a chair near the middle, put a box on the seat next to you, put my jar and a head on top of the box so that I've got a good view. Let me enjoy the gig.
be serious. I guess with virtual reality you could just
100%. Keep me alive for as long as possible.
I always joke with mine. I always joke with mine when we talk about death. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Sweet relief. It's a relief. Life is hard. And life is just,
But that
death is
hardness
a
is good, Johnny. That hardness is
I don't know.
fantastic.
No, not
Lean
really.
into
No.
it.
No, 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 no. Listen, I'm
There is
probably
no
never.
sweet relief. It's just that it's an end.
Yeah, and that is the beautiful, that's beautiful relief. Nothingness.
I would
You
rather
know?
be freezing on the streets, homeless, with
No,
nobody who loves me, with everybody I know dead and gone, freezing every single night, broken bones, riddled with AIDS,
really.
cancer,
Fucking hell, man.
tumorous prostate, than be dead.
Are you serious?
100%. There is no joke about this.
Are you? I cannot even fathom the
In that
thinking behind
horrific
that.
circumstance, I would I would still have a little giggle with myself. I would still see I would still see a man walking down the street trip and just laugh at him. I would there's
And that makes all the pain and everything else worth it.
absolutely
Oh no, no, no,
absolutely
no, no. Maybe
even
I'm the real
the
coward.
pain itself makes living worth it.
No, maybe I'm the real coward. But you know, if I was in hospital with like hand cramp, and
Hmm.
they said you're gonna have to live with this hand cramp for the rest of your life, I'll be like, pull the plug, mate. I'm done then.
Yeah, I get
I'm off
that.
to Switzerland.
I
I'm out.
get that. I think having the option to kill yourself is quite. I think that's helpful.
You know, one thing, you reminded me of something I was listening to. One of the podcasts, I discovered another nice conspiracy podcast. But it's not, they had a demographer. It's not really a conspiracy, but he was talking about demographics. And he talked about obviously the boomers are this massive demographic that controlled everything for ages. Then you have the Gen X, and they're actually a very small demographic. Millennials are the next big ones. Gen Z is actually quite small, which is why they're kind of irrelevant still. Probably always will be. But he said the boomers are going to start dying off like really hard over the next 10 or so years, and they don't have enough death care, they don't have enough hospitals, they don't have enough of anything to handle how many boomers are now going to die. And he said also boomers have like the majority of the wealth, everyone knows this, and they're going to spend in ridiculous amounts of money on
On
keeping
staying
themselves.
alive.
And he said that he thinks because they have all this wealth and all of this money, he thinks they're probably going to solve cancer, they're going to solve all these medical issues in the next like 10, 20 years, because all this boomer money is going to go into fucking solving it. And you're probably going to be having like towards the tail end people living naturally to like 100 and comfortably 100, you know. He said
Brilliant.
like,
I will reap the benefits of the boomers' self-interest.
you
Absolutely.
probably will, you probably will, because you sound like kind as well, you sound the same thing.
Mate, I completely get it. I understand it. Isn't it the most
Oh,
human thing to cling to life?
no, it is, yeah.
But isn't it also
Right.
the most human thing to sacrifice yourself for a bigger thing?
That's not really human though, is it?
Isn't it?
I
To
mean,
sacrifice
maybe
yourself for your tribe, for your
you,
people?
you do see it in the animal kingdom. Like I would say, look at the animal kingdom. You do see like animals sacrifice themselves to defend their, you know, their brood or their cubs or whatever the fuck it is, you know.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's very deep for you, Liban. When I said you're going to take control of the episode, I thought you were going to throw me like comedy skits or something. Didn't expect a discussion about dying for
Listen,
Ukraine and living into 100 rather with AIDS and on the street.
those are the two things I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about
Fucking
dying in Ukraine and dying as an old man.
bloody hell, man. Bloody hell.
Do you, I guess you don't think about it.
Do you ever talk? I don't. I don't, man.
I think about death a lot. I think
I
about
really
it quite
don't.
a fair bit, I
I've,
think.
I think I've settled my thoughts on this. What's the point? You've already settled your thoughts on death. Why do you even need to think about it? Whether you're saying it causes you anxiety or not, is that what you
No, no, no. There's no anxiety. The days of anxiety and depression over it are gone. I think what's left is considering how to die and choosing when to die and for what. And I might choose to die for Ukraine.
Oh man, I'm thinking though, like let's say you did do that. What is the point in doing that then? You wanna help.
I think what it comes down to is
The symbolism.
when I was a
Gone,
kid,
yeah.
I used to read books with lots of last stands
Yeah,
epic, heroic last stand.
yeah.
And I probably think that's probably one of the best ways to go. To die meaningfully for something.
It is, but the irony is that the characters in those books are immortalized by their last stance,
Yeah,
whereas most
I'm not going to
soldiers.
be immortalized. No,
Well, that's what
I'm
I'm
just going to be
saying.
a statistic.
But it is very interesting because I think there is a way people achieve immortality. I think there are several ways people, especially men, achieve immortality. I think that's why men do art more than women. I don't want to get into a misogynist thing again, but I think it's because I
We
think it's
spent
because
4 episodes on men versus women. We can.
no, but I do think it's one of the reasons. I think women have this incredible power to make life, which is, you know, when you actually think about it for more than 10 seconds, it is mental. And men do not have that. And there's a big psychic difference. And I think that's why men, you know, get obsessed with like art and trying to make art projects. I think it's like a sublimation of trying to achieve immortality, you know?
Yeah.
You want to live forever through your art, or you want to live forever through some symbolic gesture. You know, men will blow themselves up, you know, to be remembered. These are all sublimations of the desire for immortality, you know?
Yeah. I feel you. I hear you.
You could have done, look, Liban, it sounds to me like you're going to become a Taliban. You're talking
No,
about
because I can't.
you want to
I
live,
can't.
you want
I
to
don't
have
believe in it. I don't believe in
Yeah,
it,
I
so I
know.
can't fight for it.
I know that's
I
true.
can't do that.
But if you were 20 years old, you'd be
If I
like
would,
a
if I was,
beautiful
uh,
target for an imam to come along and
I would be so susceptible. They would come to me and they would be like, "Liban, we need you to put the Liban in the Taliban. We
we will
need you
say
to
your
come
name
out there.
forever. We will
We need you
sing your
to
name forever.
absolutely come out there, stand up for your people, do the right thing."
Yeah, but that's how they get you. That's how they get you.
Yeah. Well, they've got me, Johnny. They've got me. The only thing stopping me is that my knees are shit, and I've got a mom to take care of. I gotta make sure she's safe. You know, I gotta make sure she gets out of the country and gets to Canada.
Are you
Safe.
serious about that? You keep making a joke about that.
What?
Would you stand and fight for London or not?
Would I stand and fight for
For
London?
Britain?
It's not about Britain. It's not about London. It's about me owning this land. This is my land. And if you're going to come to my land, I'm going to get
Yeah.
in your face. I'm going to scream down your throat. And I'm going to make sure you feel the pain of trying to take it.
So you would
Probably.
defend Britain?
I think I would.
Does it depend on who the invading force is?
No, I think I'd defend it, whoever it was. But it would also depend on, you know, if I see that the government and the politicians and the rich people are getting out of the country and they're sending the middle class and the working class to fight for them, I've got enough of a chip on my shoulder that I'd say, fuck that. I'm not going to
Well,
fight
yeah.
so that you can get to safety. You can go fuck yourself. I'm going to Sweden. I'm going to New Zealand, whatever.
What
But
is that? Yeah.
if it looked like it was genuinely a united country, a united kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland coming together, 4 nations, to defend our sovereignty, to defend our land, to defend our way of living, to defend Tesco, to defend Wembley Stadium, to
Yeah, all
defend
the things you
Tottenham
love.
Hotspur, Arsenal. It comes to defending this, the chicken and chip shops, the Nando's, the North Circular. Do you hear me, Johnny?
Yeah, I
Regent's
hear you.
Park,
I hear you.
Greenwich, GMT, biscuits and tea, rich tea biscuits, digestives, hobnobs. It's about defending this.
Oh my God,
I will-
what a speech. Don't have you on the speeches. You ain't going
die
to the
for
front
it.
line. You're
I
going to
will-
be giving the speeches.
Bakerloo line, Jubilee line, Victoria line. Okay, Overground, Southern Rail. No, Southern Rail shit. I'm not fighting for Southern Rail. Fuck Southern Rail. They've put too many delays on me. Southern Rail can go fuck itself. No, but you know, other train lines.
Right, let's switch it.
The newsagent.
Let's switch it up a bit.
The Curry House, where I get my Lamborghini every other fucking week. I'll fight for that. I'll fight for the Lamborghini, Johnny. I'll fight
I
for
love
their
Lamborghini.
samosas. I'll fight for their mango lassis.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad to
Don't
hear
you
you.
want to fight with me when when I talk like this, when I talk about all the good shit.
For London now. Fuck London. I spent a whole lot trying to get out of there. Why would I fight for it?
I'm all worked up, Johnny. I'm all worked up. I'm ready to fight.
There you go.
You've got
See, but
myself in a
can I say something now? Can I say something now? I'm going to be a downer again. No, okay, I won't be a downer.
No, be
No,
a
I
downer.
won't.
Bring me back down to earth. Show me that it's all meaningless.
But there's a big difference between these big, symbolic, enjoyable, inspiring speeches and things and the actual reality of what fighting is. You know?
Yeah.
Like imagine you're hunched behind a post box. Do they even have post boxes still in London?
Yeah, we
You're
do.
hunched behind a post box. Someone is lying next to you, bleeding out. Both their legs are gone. They're crying for their mum.
Yeah. It's bad. It's
There's
grim.
there's a
It's
tank
horrible.
rolling up. There's a tank rolling up. What's the street? I don't know. Old Street. That's my area, but whatever. A tank rolling up Old Street. Several troopers who are just taking out everyone around you. Right? There's people behind you trying to flee. Are you going to join the people trying to flee, or are you actually just going to run out there and start shooting to give them a bit of time? And you're going to die. You're going to die. You who are afraid of death, especially. That's what it is. And no speech is going to fucking stop those bullets. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter how inspired you are. Sorry, I'm a downer.
I'm trying to genuinely think. I'm trying to give it seriousness. If there's tanks rolling down my street, I gotta do something.
All right, what are you going to do?
Do you?
The time you've done your speeches, the speeches are over. Half your platoon is dead.
I'm not going to foolishly go after the tank. That's just.
Oh, we're talking tactics now. All right, we're talking tactics.
Of course, I'd have to be tactical about it.
Yeah,
I'd go after soldiers on their own. I'd go after,
No soldiers are on their own. They're moving as units now. 3 covering their backs. They're outnumbered.
Listen, I gotta do something.
Well, what are you gonna do? It's happening around you.
Listen, I'll have a plan. When the time comes, I'll have a plan.
Oh my God.
Gotta have a plan.
That sounds inspiring. Look, when the time comes, we'll have a plan. For freedom. Freedom, yeah.
When the time comes. For freedom, when the time comes.
I don't think so.
Listen, I can't sit here and describe to you exactly what I would do. But if there was a resistant movement, if there was an underground, if there was a volunteer unit that I could join, if there was some way I could contribute, I would.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm not disparaging that. I think that's quite honourable. That is the spirit that did,
But don't you think if you were here in London and we had an invading force coming in,
yeah,
would you not do something? Would you just try to get out of the country?
But I mean, this is the thing, and I think this is why all war is going to be like really fucked up in the future. Because what am I doing? I don't care about London, and I know that's terrible. I mean, there's not much I'd care about. I don't care. What did London ever give me? It gave me nothing. It's very hard for me to,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, I have a girlfriend. We don't have kids. Why don't we have kids? Because we don't have any fucking money. If I had a house and a really well-paid job and I had that 10 years ago, we'd have kids and then maybe I'd actually feel like some stir if I'm protecting something. But I don't.
Yeah, you've got no stake. You've got no sense of ownership.
Yeah, I don't have a stake. I mean, I think that's literally why war in the West would be really fucked up because no one has a stake. It's not me I'm talking about. I'm talking for a lot of people in their 30s literally have fuck all. No house. You're going to fight so you can continue to pay ridiculous rents to your landlord. Fuck it, man. Turn it all to rubble. Let's build it again. I have a better roll of the dice there. If we just turn everything to rubble, I think that's actually why there's a lot of like disenfranchised people who enjoy dystopias now. They enjoy these post-apocalyptic scenarios because people feel like, well, it would be at least there'd be something, to do rather than this completely enclosed way of living where everything's been wrapped up. I mean, especially back in London. I'll grow up knowing literally from the start, I'm never going to own a single inch of land in London. So what is the fucking point in,
I'm trying to think why I would feel the need to defend them, because what you're saying, I jibe with it. It literally, I agree with you 100%. I don't feel any like sort of sense of like ownership or stake here.
Yeah.
I'm even further behind than you are. I don't even have a girlfriend. Never mind a girlfriend and kids in a house. So why do I feel like
I
I
think it's
need
just
to
a search for
defend this?
meaning, isn't it? You're just looking for meaning in life, which I completely understand. A sense of purpose. Everyone's looking for that, man.
Hmm.
And I think that's why a lot of people are very easily manipulated. I think everyone is looking for meaning. There was this guy. It was conspiracy. I think he was an actual psychologist or something. And during the COVID, he came up with all these new terms. I mean, everyone understands this mass hysteria, blah blah blah. But his terms were actually quite interesting because he said like, what you have with this is you have like a lot of free floating anxiety, which I always thought was a really nice term for like, you have this free flowing anxiety, you have a lack of meaning making, he says. I don't know what that, but like a lack of meaning. And then it creates this, you have a fixation point. I think COVID for a lot of people was like this fixation point where they could derive a sense of meaning and purpose from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know this is from my side of the fence. I know you're on the other side of the fence. But
No, I
you
hear
get
you.
what I'm saying with the
Talk
terms.
about it. Yeah.
Just the terms alone, I thought were very interesting. And it's classic. He's just talking about like mass hysteria, the madness of the common crowd. It's all been written about before. But I thought his terms was like maybe more accurate for like free floating anxiety. I absolutely see a lot of that in society. And you've got it. Maybe I have it a bit as well. I just channel it in a different way. We find, and then they give you a fixation point. It's bang,
And now I'm fixated on Ukraine versus Russia.
Yeah, it's an easy way to like shape a lot of other anxieties maybe you have,
Mm-hmm.
which we all have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know.
It does make me wish. It does make me wish I lived in a country where I had more of a stake in it.
But yeah, I think everyone does, man. That whole fucking generation does. The whole
Mm-hmm.
generation is fuck all, you know?
Yeah, because I can't stand here and honestly say to you that the UK is worth dying for. I couldn't.
Oh yeah. But
The
if you had
system that we live in, that the way that we live, and that what we've got today, and my existence, and the way that I've been living is worth dying for. I can't say that,
yeah.
but I do wish that we had, that I could say that.
Jesus Christ, man. Are we both gonna start crying? Because that's how this
I'm
podcast
getting
go
quite
around.
emotional. I'm
Are
getting
we
quite
both gonna
emotional.
just start fucking crying and Jesus Christ, this podcast getting little zero listeners. And we're here
Just
fucking
wringing out our emotions for one guy in Canada.
that guy in Canada. I hope that guy likes it.
You
Fuck yeah.
better appreciate this, because I'm about to burst into tears, man.
No, don't burst into tears. The boomers are going to start dying, and then everything frees up. You know, everything frees up.
Oh, it'd be nice to have a big ideological dream that you could buy into, wouldn't it?
It would.
To be like, fuck, this is great. I'm giving my all to this. It must have been quite a rush for communists and just people who are part of big movements at the beginning of it, and you feel like
Yeah, yeah.
you're ideologically changing the world for a better way, and a better place, and just making it something that you can pass on to your children and future generations.
You know what? I think you would love that. Yeah, I would not.
No,
I don't know what. There's something wrong with me, Liban. Maybe there's something wrong with
tell me about
me.
it.
Because there've been multiple times in not even like in well, yeah, in my life where people have been euphoric. They have been absolutely euphoric about the world getting better. I asked you this on a previous podcast. Like, when was the last time you thought the world was getting better?
Hmm.
I can't remember what you said. What did you say?
I don't remember. I don't even remember you asking me that.
Maybe it's just my instinct to always like disagree with everyone around me about everything. Always,
Hmm. Yeah.
I have always been like, "What are you going crazy for? It's the same shit." And I remember like when Obama got voted in. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
The streets were filled. Everyone was like, "Yes, this is the new,
New
completely
day.
new."
Yeah.
He's going to take it to Wall Street because people were still fucked about the economic crash. It's like he's going to take it to Wall Street. He's
Yeah.
going to unite the world. The end of wars. And then, of course, what did we get? Goldman Sachs guy walks in to be the head of the Fed, and then it's the same old shit. Bailed out of banks, drone bombing. Plenty of innocents down in the Middle East.
Business as usual.
Business as usual. And everyone, but the thing is, all the people who were euphoric completely forgot about it. They don't care. They don't realize that their euphoria, their feelings were completely used.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I think it stems from when I was a kid. Because I think when I was about 12 or something, Tony Blair got voted in.
Yeah, that new Labour government. It was Cool Britannia, Rule
Cool
Britannia.
Britannia.
It was all part of like there's a new
Yes.
young generation of politicians who are going to
Right.
come in, clean out the
Yes.
Conservatives,
Yes.
and I
No
remember
one,
I was
and
there as
everyone,
well.
yeah, everyone was like, the world's going to get better. Oh my God. I remember being a kid, looking around me, all these adults being like, oh, the world's going to get better. The world's going to get better just while I'm, growing up.
God,
And
the
oh, mate.
mid-90s in Britain was fucking amazing, wasn't it?
Oh, and
You had amazing music. You had the golden generation of footballers
Yes.
going out. You had the 96 Euros that's coming home. You
96. I remember the euphoria around
you had the new Labour government coming into power.
97, yeah.
Yeah, it was all just like it was the USSR had fallen in the early 90s, so the big fear of the communist sort of nuclear disaster that was gone. It was a whole new time, wasn't it? And then 2-3 years after coming into power,
9/11, war in Iraq,
9/11,
economic crash.
Tony Blair takes us directly into Iraq.
Yeah. There you go.
WMDs, Johnny,
And I think that,
WMDs.
and I got burnt once there as a young man who
Mhm.
thought the world was getting better. Right?
Yeah.
And never again, never again. I remember going around and telling everyone Obama literally is Tony Blair. He reminded me of Tony Blair. He's the American Tony Blair. Because Tony Blair, obviously now everyone's like, oh,
But at the time, he was a charismatic young leader.
At the time, yeah, he was the British nerdy. He played guitar, blah blah blah. He was like he's like every man for the British everyman, whereas Obama was the everyman for the American everyman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always the same shit. It just goes on and on, man. It never changes. You know what I'm saying?
But what if you had something that you could buy into? That's what I'm saying. Just because
I'm not buying anything.
You're never buying anything.
Nothing. I would never buy
you're
nothing.
You're not in the shop. You're not even in the shop. You're standing across from the shop, walking by, not even looking in.
That is literally what I mean. I'm not buying into nothing. Don't try to sell me nothing. I'm not interested.
Whereas I'm browsing through the shelves. I really want to buy something.
You're listening to the sales pitches.
I'm listening to the sales pitches. I'm one of those guys who's like the salesmen hate because I come in and I listen to their full pitch and then I say, no, I'm not buying this. But I'm there and I'm wasting their time when they could be grafting somebody else and trying to get somebody else to, get their commission for the day. I'm wasting their time because at the end of the day, I want to buy, but I'm not going to let myself buy it.
That was literally my line whenever you got cold called when I was in England.
Mm-hmm.
I would literally say, mate, you could sit here and talk to me for an hour. I'm never going to buy anything from you. I just said that. You could talk all you want, mate. I'm never going to buy anything. I just used to say that flat out. And I think they would happily just hang up on you there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the way I say it. They know that I'm a man who's too jaded to do it. He's like, oh, fuck, I'm not talking to this guy. He's depressing. I'm not even going to try.
He's going to fucking leave me wanting to slit my wrists.
Yeah. I'm already working in a call centre. I'm not handling this. I'd rather have someone argue with me than fucking listen to this cunt.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway, do you have anything more? Should we wrap it up there?
Yeah, I'm happy to wrap it up there. So that's what we had today. We had a bit of Ukraine, a bit of aging, and then whether or not there's anything that we can buy into.
Yeah. We could buy into the idea of this podcast. We could give our heart and soul into this, Liban. and
I don't think you
die
can.
on a bloody. I can't. I can't
I
even
don't
buy
think you
into
can.
that.
You can't even buy into something that you're making.
I can't even buy into that. All I see with this podcast is myself lying bloodied on a battlefield
Oh,
in pain, begging
wow.
passing soldiers to end it.
Wow. Wow. All right. So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, listeners of Liban is Listening, you might potentially be listening to the very last episode of Liban
No,
is
we're not.
Listening.
No. We'll keep going.
Listen,
We'll do 10. Listen, we'll do
the
10. I
possibility
will
is
give it.
there. The possibility, I'm just saying, you might be listening to the very last one. And if you are, we thank you very much for joining us on this journey. And if it isn't, and you're listening to the next episode in a few weeks' time, well, we made it. We made it. We made it, boys.
We made it out of the trenches.
We made it out the trenches. We're back home.
We should do some homework for ourselves for the next episode.
Such as.
Let's look at that positive things.
Oh my God, shut it down. Please, please shut it down. That's quite enough of that. Thank you very much. No more, please. Please, I've had enough. I couldn't have any more of that. No, not me, sir. No, not me. Um, that was bloody depressing. I apologize for that. But, sometimes that's life. So life is depressing sometimes. We've got to deal with it and accept it. So to leave on a positive note, what can we say? We can say that today, as we're publishing this on the 3rd of March, it is the Tibetan New Year, which is called Shambhala Day. And Shambhala Day is a day of karmic beginnings. So we're all karmically interwoven. We've all got karmic weight on our shoulders. And sometimes, that ties us down. That sometimes that holds us back. But karmic ties can also propel you forward and lift you to new things. So as it is Shambhala Day, spend this day and spend the upcoming week looking around, thinking of what are the opportunities around you to make new friendships, new relationships, new opportunities that you can grab onto, which you do want to karmically tie yourself to. So think about positive karma. Think about sending some of yourself out there and getting some good stuff back. All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good week and we'll speak to you soon. Bye. Ciao.